Welcome to another CISSP session. Uh, in this particular session, we will discuss information and data lifecycle. As you can see, this image represents the information and data lifecycle. Um, it shows how data is handled from creation to destruction. So let me give you a few examples. But before continue to discuss every single steps here, create, store, use, archive. Just I want to make one thing clear here. When you check on internet or when you um, read about information data lifecycle, you may find different images, different diagram. Uh, for example, in some diagram, you may see. Let me yeah. So you may see one additional step here is classif classify, right? So that could be one additional step in image or in any diagram when you search for this particular topic. But it could also be that this create the first phase or the first step, the classification is covered under this. Because why I'm emphasizing on classify data, this that is a very important thing. Because once data is generated or collected, for example user input, it could be document, sensor data, uh, what needs to be done first? Data classification. Because in companies, in bigger organization, we are not supposed to leave data unattended without labeling, right? So that data classification is very important thing. As soon as you gather the data uh, through user input using any mechanism, so you need to classify that data as soon as data is collected. So data classification, labeling, access controls in this phase. Second phase is store. Means data is saved on a physical or cloud storage, right? What needs to be done while storing data? Encryption is one thing, access control list, backup strategies. So when you are storing data, you need to make sure that data is encrypted, data is confidential. Unauthorized people are not supposed to access that data, right? So access control list, right? So you need to limit the user, the data access. For that, you may use different access control, but here we are talking about access control list, right? That is important, right? Backup strategy. Once you store the data, you need to make sure, for instance, if you store data on physical storage or on cloud storage, you should make sure that your data is also properly backed up. In case if you lose that physical hard disk or physical storage, then you have uh, data storage, you have backup for your data. It means backup strategies, right? So that you also need to make sure, right? So backup strategies should be uh, part of your plan, right? Use and share. Once storage is done, now you data can be used, right? When you store data, then the purpose is ultimately the data can be used. Authorized user access or share data for business operations. So you may use it for business purpose. Yes, and role-based access, which security measures needs to be added. Role-based access, audit logs, DLP, data loss prevention, we need to add. So I'm giving you a few examples. There could be multiple security measures, But these are essential things which we are mainly discussing and focusing or emphasizing. So the next step would be archive. Inactive data is moved to long-term storage for compliance or historical reference when the data is no more in use for any business operation. Data is no more relevant, so then we can uh, archive it. Data is moved to long-term storage for compliance and historical references. Security measures are more or less same. Encryption, retention policy, yes, that is another important thing which we need to make sure that we should have a retention policy in place, because without retention policy, you can't keep data. Uh, if data needs to be kept for, let's say, 2 years, then it should be defined in your retention policy. Uh, and secure storage, obviously, that is also important. Destroy. When data is no more, that would be the last step, destroy. So when data is no more needed, no longer needed, even after moving in archive, for archive, as we discussed, that we should have retention policy. If that retention policy is in place and we know that that data can be kept in archive mode for let's say 5 years, and now the data is no more needed because your retention policy does not allow you to keep data longer than that period which you have already defined in your retention policy, then the last step would be when data is no longer needed, it must be securely deleted or destroyed. Securely deleted, that is important, right? So we should make sure the criticality of data, and then we need to make sure that it is securely deleted or destroyed. Security measures, it could be multiple security measures, but we are talking about here data wiping, degaussing, physical destruction of drives. Maybe in upcoming video we may discuss about all these data wiping or data deletion methods, but destruction should be done in a securely manner. Okay, so real world example, for instance, let's say company email system create, for instance, if we talk about create, employee sends an email, emails is saved on company servers, employee reads, reply, forward emails, now we are using and sharing it. uh, I mean, when employees reads and replies, archive old emails are moved to archive. After 6 months, emails older than 5 years are deleted per policy. So, as your policy allows you, uh, the period which you have already defined in your retention policy. So, until that period, you can keep the data. Created classification, as I have highlighted in the beginning, that as soon as data is created or collected, it should be classified based on its sensitivity. For example, public, internal, confidential, top secret, secret, so whatever it is, right? Because classification determines how the data must be handled in all future stages: storage, access, sharing, destruction. Based on data criticality, sensitivity, in all these stages which we have discussed one by one, it it also determines how the data must be handled in all stages, right? uh, yes. For instance, and let me give you another real world example. For instance, a patient's medical record is created and immediately classified as a confidential, right? Protected health information, right? And now the next stage is stored. It is stored securely in a HIPAA compliant database, right? Now use and share. Doctor and nurses access it through role-based access. It may be shared securely with insurance, right? Insurance companies. Uh, archived after patient is just discharged for long-term retention, securely deleted after the retention policy ends. Classification should be explicitly listed, especially in security conscious environment, right? Let me know if you have any further question on this topic. I would be happy to add record another video. And if any questions, please share your question in comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video.